What's up, guys? It's Ricky, and I'm gonna post all 3 episodes now. And so when you're done watching this video, just check the pinned comments. The other episodes will be there. I wanted to talk about this particular story about one of Eminem's daughters, hailie, getting married, and this trend that it has sparked for marriage and family and self-development, all these type of very good things to think about that it has sparked, right? And just looking at where it all came from, where his life goal was to give his daughter a life that a life to aspire to, basically. And it's how beautiful the wedding looked and everything, just everything as a whole, if you actually look at everything that came out. And so people are contemplating to themselves, wait a minute, is this the same hailie we kept hearing about? The same young girl that we were hearing in Mockingbird. Eminem had a song called Mockingbird, talking about how he will silence the world so that she can have a peaceful rest. Like, he will silence everything. He will work himself hard so that she could have a life to speak of. And that's kind of like the thing that people are seeing in the story, like in the general aspect of it. I saw a tweet that was actually addressing that, to say, and that's the subject. And the tweet comes from Twitter, and it was made by Austin Peter Smith. And he says, these photos of Eminem at hailie's weddings are so powerful to me, because they show that Eminem broke the cycle, right? He grew up with nothing, surrounded with drugs and violence, and has said for decades that hailie had inspired him to create a different life for her, and they did it. And so that's kind of like the tweet that actually Austin made, which kind of covers this idea, this thought that I'm talking about when I say the inspiring stories that come out to say, wait a minute, is this the same little girl we were hearing in all those songs? Another thing is that there was another little girl that Eminem used to talk about a little bit. You would hear in some of his songs people saying, why am I single? Like all this type of stuff. There is like a video right now that's actually even going viral along those lines of, why am I single? And it reminded me of a story in the Bible. In the book of Esther, there's a story about a queen called Queen Vashti. Esther chapter number 1. Queen Vashti gets an instruction to come up to the king. But because Queen Vashti had become so important, she refused to go to the king at the king's instruction. She refused to go to the king, and as a result, this caused her to be replaced. You could kind of think of it like that. She had become so important, like Queen Vashti had become so important that even the things that she would have aspired to, she discredited herself from, And so that's the thing that I wanted to talk about, particularly from that tone of that particular story, the Queen Vashti story. I've said this a lot, to say a lot of times you tend to have people turn themselves into statistics, right? Become unbearable, annoying. Even the Bible actually says, better to be on the top of the roof than to be with a person who's just constantly nagging. And a lot of people have become nagging voices on social media. Every single little trend that bashes, man, you are right there. Every single little, so there is no way, like, it's either man or woman, you could put it whichever way, right? It's that people have become these echo voices of other people's views. And when those other people see what these people think, a person then asks themselves, why would I want to marry this individual? Why would I want to be with this individual in my life? And so as a result, it brought people now to a realization. That's why I'm referencing that particular little, that picture there, saying people starting to realize that's that little girl that Eminem was speaking about, aspiring to give her a good life and stuff. And now you see she's now there. She's not bought into all these ideas, men are trash, all these ideas that people sell themselves on the internet. And so unfortunately, people have turned themselves into nothing but slogans. It's either it's feminism against marriage, men are nothing, what, and then you still expect those same individual you speak down to uphold. And actually, there was a trend last year of a young girl that went to a date with a guy, and because the guy didn't take her to a restaurant she liked, she thought to embarrass the guy on social media. She recorded a video embarrassing him, talking about how can you take me to this low stake dates, whatever, and the thing trended, right? And the guy right there immediately said, okay, no, it's all good, you can have your standards, but I also have standards. If you wanted something, you could have said, but instead you decided to be an annoying individual, a social media individual, so go ahead and blog that, but I'm taking you back home. And so he drove out of the parking lot and drove her back to her house. And the video ends with a very sad tone of her saying, but we could talk about it. And the guy said, no, it's done. Why? Because people have become echoing voices. They echo political voices. What I'm saying here is the same thing that I said when that girl from EFF, the one who was there casting Israel, that video does not sit well with me at all till date. That girl, the one who turned out to be Wishiri's spiritual daughter. Yeah, that girl. She had a channel, and I once spoke about it. I said, this girl had a channel, you're bashing men, what? But, selling all these ideas. A few years later, she is getting married. And so, unfortunately, people get sold ideas. They get sold tags. They get sold disbelief. They get sold. And then it only takes a small little thing for them to realize, wait a minute, what do I? That's why I find it quite interesting that there's a video that's going viral. I think it's in the US and in the UK, where a girl is like crying. She's like, wait a minute, why am I still single? It's because we realize that other people have not taken these ideas that we have taken on, and we've only become victims of the ideas of other people. The Bible even warns about that. Be careful not to be thinking in another person's sins. It warns about that. Other people have a very corrupt way of thinking about things, and they display that, and other people buy into that. Be careful not to be sold into people's ideas. Don't be a statistics, because when you're out here, into Damas. And so that man who had intended to marry you hears into Damas, and he's like, oh, what are we talking about here? Which, if you remember the video that I made about, the 9 things that I personally look at when to consider whether to get married to a person, was one of the things was, does the person argue the world through our relationship? It's a very important one, because now you're using all these taglines that you're getting out there, all these things that you hear, all these people that are deceiving you, and you are just echoing that back. And unfortunately, the people that want to commit themselves to you, they see that and they ask themselves, wait, this is an uphill battle. What are we doing here? And so, and again, the reason why that particular girl that I'm talking about, I'll leave the video of it, of the particular video that I'm talking about, this girl, I'll leave it down in the description below. The reason why why that video is going viral is because the girl she keeps saying, I don't know why. I'm not. Everybody keeps telling me I'm the problem. She literally says that. Everybody says I am the problem. And so everybody can't be wrong, but she won't take accountability for how she puts all these strange standards on people And then when the people hear the standards, they're like, okay, no problem, you can go on about your life. Don't be a statistic. Don't buy into people's ideas that you know nothing about, because sometimes it only takes you hearing of stories like this for you to remember, wait a minute, why again? And accountability does not come into play, because at that moment a person is so far gone, they would rather not take accountability to say, I got all these bad ideas that the people that come into my life to bring good, they just don't see why to contribute good to me, because you have all these things that you just represent, which are just strange ideas. Accept a man and be rich, accept he earns 6 figures. Even you don't earn 6 figures, but that's what you require. You see all these strange ideas you keep portraying. Don't be statistic. What exactly do you believe, and what do you want out of your life? I thought that was quite an interesting one to come back here and remind, and that story of Queen Vashti, wow, that's a lot of people nowadays, Queen Vashti's pride reflects in a lot of people, which you see on social media. It's Ricky. Yeah, tell me what you think. It's Ricky Reality Show. We do daily Christian commentary videos. Be careful not to be corrupted by people's strange ideas.